What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Fandalorian Club here on Apocalypse Movies, our weekly Star Wars recap show, where we recap everything in the world of Star Wars. Thank you so much for joining us. We are on episode 5, chapter 21 of The Mandalorian, season 3. And my goodness, what an episode we have to discuss today. Lots of goodies came from this episode, a lot of setup, a lot of questions. And we have two gentlemen who will be joining us here in just a sec. To talk about that with. I'm very excited to have them on the channel because what a perfect episode to talk about with them specifically too. It's been, our guests have been set up very nicely this season so far. I'm loving it so far. But Brian, we are here. It's another Fandalorian day. How you doing, man?
Good. Ready for this to go to pure chaos.
Don't jinx it.
In the I'm not this is not a jinx. This is I'm excited. There is no jinxing involved. And I'm sure we're going to spin off on so many different tangents. I cannot wait.
Fair enough. I think we should just stop holding off and get to it. They are the co-host of Scoundrels, Inc., one of the another Star Wars podcast in the universe, which is their tagline. I love it. We have Frank and Sean Sullivan with us.
That's our tagline, Sean, from day one. What's going on, guys?
What's up, boys?
Wow.
Hey, hello.
Thank you guys
why
so much for joining us.
Why aren't you guys in like
The same place?
yeah?
Because we're less dedicated of driving a half hour plus to make a podcast happen.
It's only a half hour?
Yeah.
I drive an hour to get here every
In
week.
prime time traffic too. But then again, you
But you guys only meet once a week to shoot. We do a show on Tuesdays.
Right.
We do a show on Wednesdays.
Yeah, you're much more dedicated than we are.
and Mondays and Thursdays.
Well, just as far as this channel goes, yeah.
Yeah, that's the other channel.
Yeah. There's a lot that goes on this channel specifically. So meeting in person, we did it originally, but it became very difficult. So
Yeah, and you. I mean, look, you got married, and you know, you're busy, and Brian's
doing nothing.
Hey, but
You know,
you're doing things.
I was gonna say. I was gonna.
Really.
I mean, you're here now. You know?
Yeah. This is my doing something.
Hell yeah, it is. And we're going to celebrate that tonight.
I always like to celebrate Brian.
Yeah.
It's what my bumper sticker says. Celebrate Brian.
That's who it's referencing?
Yeah, it's that Brian.
I've always wondered, who's this Brian? Now I know. Yeah.
Well, Brian, I mean, you said it, man. It's starting early. It is starting early. We're 3 minutes into the show. Yeah. So, all right. Before we get into chapter 5, I do kind of want to talk to you guys a little bit about how you're feeling about season 3. You guys do the weekly reviews. They're up on the channel for everyone to view. But I want your guys' perspective on everything season 3 so far, how you're feeling, things maybe you want to see, and things that you may be looking forward to in the future here. Frank, why don't you start us off?
Well, I'm very easy to please, so I've been enjoying the week-to-week. Brian, I am. It's just what it. You don't have to look at me all weird. It's just when it comes to Star Wars.
World of Star Wars, okay.
Yeah. I mean, yes, in the world of Star Wars, I'm very easy to please. This season has been fun. I like what has transpired thus far, and I like that I don't really know or like where it's going. I like that it's not telegraphed of like, all right, well, the whole thing is we're waiting for Grogu to get it picked up by a Jedi, which was fun and that was cool, and I like that. But this season, are we doing the way of the Mandalorian? Are we reviving Mandalore? Are we settling down on Navarro? What's going on with the pirates? What's happening with Gideon? What's going on with the New Republic? I like there's all this stuff going on, and it's really just making me live in the moment in each episode and just absorb it that way. And so that's what I think. I guess season 3 is kind of been my favorite of the 3 so far.
Ooh, okay, love that.
Yeah.
All right, Sean.
Okay, so
Here we go.
I am also easy to please. In that, I think many of you will know, like
Star Wars wise, or
we
got to clarify on the show.
Yeah, I'm gonna clarify here. I've got a soft spot for movies like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and X-Men Origins, and movies that are not good. Right? Like, I'm very easy to please. If you give me a fun story and some action and some interesting characters, I don't give a crap if the plot line sucks. The difference is I really give a fuck about the Mandalorian and Mandalorians and Star Wars and Boba Fett and like all that stuff. I was having a hard time. Like, I think I've been more negative on this season on the pacing and the plot of it.
Yeah, of like execution wise, of like filmmaking wise.
Well, that too, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think where it's going, if I look at each individual episode, I love each individual episode. However, I don't like, not to beat a dead horse, I'm sure you guys already talked about it. I don't like that everything from the finale of last season was thrown out the window. And I don't just mean the Grogu stuff. There's a whole bunch of other things now that have been thrown out the window. I don't like some of the plotting of it. But, man, that fucking episode ended. And I was so ecstatic. I was so happy. Like, everything that went on. But overall, I think it's really flawed. I think there's a lot of flaws with this season. I think it's my favorite season.
It's crazy.
But
That's wild.
but I think it's my favorite season because it's showing me the things that I want to see out of this show, but it's not showing me the things that I feel like last season set up.
Would you feel like this season for you is like a scatterbrain of like a bunch of ideas?
No, because every season of the show has been an anthology season. If anything, this is the least anthology of the show yet.
Oh, for sure.
But I feel like it doesn't know. I feel like Dave and John don't know necessarily.
They don't know Star Wars, right?
No, I don't think they know where. Did Garrett say this, or did? I feel like they don't know where they're going.
Oh yes, this was on the Garrett was on. Yeah,
yeah, and I think after this episode, I feel that even more strongly. I don't think they know where they're going. I think they're just letting it go. Right? They're kind of letting the episodes write themselves. Hey, what would be cool? Right? And I'm cool with that, right? Like, I love Star Wars. I want to see cool stuff. I want to see, Zeb Orrelios in a weird blue flight suit in a Vietnam bunker tavern.
So epic, Sean.
I
It's
know.
So epic.
God, it was great.
I know it was great, right? Like, and I loved. I mean, I don't want to take all of our content for our show, but
Dude, leave it all out there.
hey, can we just air this as our
Yeah, exactly.
episode?
Like it's gonna be really weird when Jake and Brian are, on the reciprocated end of our conversation.
I mean, I'm just gonna read my notes. It says Carabast, Tim Meadows, Carson Tevis, badass. Aldari base is cool. Forge Hammer, sign of authority. This is the way. Hyperspace and Bo's speech gave me chills. Shmi the Ugnaught, like my stream of consciousness. I love this stuff, and everything about this episode was great. I got some complaints in the middle, but everything about this episode is great. It's just like we dropped this whole plot about the stolen Imperial cruiser. we dropped the Grogu plot into another series, which the farther we get away from it, the more I have an issue with it.
okay.
I know you disagree, and that's why I like doing the show with you.
I don't disagree that you feel that you should that you can or cannot feel that way. It's just like I said, I'm pretty easy to please with my Star Wars, and I also like I do feel like I'm less on this line of thinking that John and Dave are kind of like, let's see what happens, blah blah blah. Like I do think there is that to an extent. I also think they're trying to compensate for the loss of Rangers of the New Republic. So
sure, I think you're right.
I think they had this plan with Rangers of the New Republic as a show that was gonna do some heavy lifting for other New Republic stuff. But now, because of that show being no longer a thing, they made the decision, instead of scrapping what we were gonna do that included this other show, I feel like they're going to start taking bits and pieces and infusing it into The Mandalorian, where some people will go, well, what is that doing here? Like a couple weeks ago when we spent that whole episode with Elia Kane and Pershing, right? So I think that would have been a whole New Republic episode, and people would have been like, yeah, that's what this show is, Rangers of the New Republic, and The Mandalorian's over here with Bo-Katan and the Covert and all that stuff's going on, the Mythosaur, blah, 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 and that's great. I think they know where they want to go. They clearly do because season 4 is written. So
Right. Yeah, I'm not saying they don't. I think a better way of saying it is I feel like the series needs another like 2 episodes per season.
probably would be
Right.
wise at this point if they're going to start infusing New Republic.
Because it just feels meandering. It doesn't feel aimless. I think I misspoke in that I think they don't know where they're going because it just feels meandering and it feels like there's not enough central focus for it.
I think the problem also is that it's just called the Mandalorian. So when you kind of go outside of that scope, people start wondering, well, what are you doing?
Well, Beau's the Mandalorian.
Sure.
So's Boba.
Grogu.
So's
I
Boba.
think-
So's Grogu.
I have
Sorry,
been
we
saying-
talked a whole bunch.
No, that's fine.
That's
I've been
exactly
saying
why
this
we
for-
did this. We love this. Yeah.
I've been saying this season to me has put more emphasis on the title, The Mandalorian, and for me, it's not singular anymore.
No.
Like everything I'm seeing is more broad. Grogu has multiple times it's been implied and seems like he is the Mandalorian. Then you have Din, who seems like the Mandalorian. And then now Bo, like you said, is also being set up as the Mandalorian. So it's this season especially, like I've been questioning. I mean, 1 and 2, I'm like Din Djarin.
Mhm.
And this one, I'm like multiple. Like, what's going on here?
Or
So-
plural. It could just
Yeah.
be a plural meaning too. Why does it
I-
have to be just to
Yeah.
one?
Well,
That's where I'm leaning. It's the Mandalorian as the culture. You know?
Yeah.
no, there can only be one. We have to compare them and pick our
Yeah,
favorite.
the show's not called A Mandalorian, okay? It's called
It's not.
The
It's not
Mandalorian.
called The Mandalorians.
All right. Well, let's jump into episode 5. Lots of stuff happened in this episode. Brian, I want you to start us off. Reaction, thoughts, and then if you want to kind of dive into something specific that we can kind of get going on here, what were your thoughts on episode 5?
I thought it was really good. I mean, I enjoyed it. I'm bummed they killed a seaweed monster.
Gorian Shard.
Yeah, I loved Gorian Shard. I just loved the way he looked. It was so different. It was not.
I love this whole vibe, man. I really
Me
do.
Yes.
too. Me too. So
I
much.
was bummed because I love seeing new aliens, and so like that. I mean, that is a new alien. We have not seen. I mean, I looked it up to see if I could find a species name. There's nothing.
Well, he kind of reminds me of Tipley and Tiplar from the Clone Wars, the Lost season.
Oh,
I guess, yeah.
The kind of
That's a
dryad
good-
twins.
that's a good reference. Okay.
I can't remember them.
I just like looking at him because, first off, his mouth never matches when he's speaking. Which is,
Yeah.
that makes me laugh.
It's crazy because it's like animated. It's like CGI.
Yeah.
But a lot of the aliens in this season.
Yeah,
happen.
I know.
And I don't care. Like that's how original
Neither do
Star
I.
Wars was.
It
Yeah.
reminds me of like Chuck E. Cheese, like
Oh
like,
my
No,
God.
Pizza
Yeah.
the Hut. Pizza
Yeah.
the Hut.
Pizza.
Yeah, okay.
Pizza the Hut. Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I love everything that they're doing. I like that we went off planet and came back and the dog fighting and just I'm very curious. It's funny because last week I was like, yeah, they're for sure a cult and blah blah blah, and they're gonna
Right?
turn on them.
Oh my God.
And this week I'm like, am I
If I like
rooting
this?
for the
Am-
cult?
Would I join the cult?
Yeah, I'm like.
Yeah,
wait a
I'm like,
minute.
I think the cult are the good people now, and it's like, isn't that's not what you're supposed to? I mean, the cult's working, if you're thinking that.
Right,
So that's
you're
why I'm
like,
like,
I'm deep in it now. Yeah.
Look,
So I kind of like that they're messing with you, and the armor never really kind of gives you like a you're in on her or you're out on her. She's
That
always
turn, whenever it does happen with her, that turn is going to be wild because she hasn't given any kind of inkling of
no.
bad
No.
bone in her body. She seems like she's great, doing everything for the cause. The second it happens, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy.
I'm waiting for the armorer to ask them all to get a brand of her initials. You know,
Above her pelvic bone. Yeah. Above her pelvic.
It's gonna be her giant hammer. It's just
Yeah.
put it right there.
Dude, honestly, I would.
She's gonna go.
If she asked me, I'd do it.
It's a sign of love.
Yeah.
She's gonna go full Keith Raniere on us.
Stop it.
This is the way.
Yeah.
The mythosaur is a sign of your love for me, the armorer.
Well, before we get into the Mandalorian aspect of it all, because
Jake, what were your impressions on the episode? What did you think? Because you
I loved
asked
it.
Brian and then you didn't say.
Okay, well, thank you. I loved it. I thought it was great. I loved the New Republic side of it all as well. Seeing a little bit. I love seeing the inside of the New Republic, and even if it's just at small bits. We've obviously known for a long time that the New Republic came in and they're trying to resolve everything from the Empire, but then we get this scene with Carson Teva trying to essentially request, hey, can I go help these people? And they're basically just saying, no, we don't have the time or the money or the resources to do it.
Yeah.
And that's just a classic juggernaut organization stuff that's in real life, stuff that's in Star Wars. Everything has their flaws, and whether it's the New Republic, Empire, whatever, no matter how big of a size it is. So I do love seeing that. And then I say it every week on this show, but just the Mandalorian aspect is incredible. Getting to see those characters in action, and specifically this episode, I know this is one of the scenes that was kind of hyped up the most in that trailer, the drop ship, and just seeing them do their thing, and such. We've seen armies and stuff before in Star Wars, but we've never seen what feels like a military unit in Star Wars,
Right.
And that's what the Mandalorians feel like, and it's incredible.
Well, I mean, you do see it a little bit with Clone Wars and Bad Batch.
The live action.
Yeah, the
ones,
clones.
yeah.
The
live
clones
action,
for
no.
sure. Yeah,
But the reason I think that's a good thing is because that's why Jango is the genetic template, right? Because he comes from a culture where this is second nature to them.
yeah.
So
Yeah. And I was gonna say, I think the all the LARPing last episode really paid off.
yeah, I didn't know shooting at water would.
Well, you just got to think what would be there, and that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
They were like they can see things that we can't. That's what makes them great warriors, Sean. You should know this. You're a Mandalorian guy. Come on.
Hey, I got a question. How did the armor get down to the planet?
Who cares, man? But good question.
Because you know what she doesn't have.
She hitched a ride on Paz, probably. I think.
Yeah, I want to imagine. I want to
I was
imagine.
thinking.
I just want to imagine Paz carrying her down. Because
Yes,
we
my
didn't.
liege.
Did we not see her in Bo's ship?
No.
But Jake, she doesn't have a jetpack.
I know, but just
So right? I understand she was there, but did Paz? Because we also didn't see Paz drop. So I imagine Paz just
I think she's
cradled her down.
she's just got some rocket boosters in her ankles, kind of.
I mean, that'd be cool. Like the
R2
Cad Bane
just
or
goes out,
Cad Bane
yeah,
had
Cad Bane
those.
too, yeah,
you
that's
know.
right. Maybe, I don't know, but yeah, no, it's a good question. I didn't think about that until you said it. I was just psyched to see her just walk in there like
Yeah.
Mace Windu, just like, let's go.
Clang clang. That was some. I don't know if you know this. Jake is a big Scandinavia file.
I don't know what you're talking
He's
about.
real into Vikings.
Oh,
If it's got a Viking in it,
yeah,
Yeah.
all for it.
like that new God of War,
sure,
Jake loves it.
loves
Yeah,
it without
100%.
question.
That cool
Yeah.
movie. That
All
cool,
we
really
cared about
bloody.
last week is that Ragnar Vizsla. His name is
Yeah,
Ragnar.
Ragnar Vizsla. Viking.
Yeah, I
Good
have
name.
some. Yeah, I got some questions about that too.
Ragnar.
How do you get from? I said this on the show last week. So if for our regular viewers, who some of which are in the chat, some of which we will be answering their
I ever
questions.
see the booze in there.
Yeah,
Is that
John Beaus got Andy Fing.
All of them, really. Actually, they don't even know it yet, though.
Yeah, I mean all Maddie Gunner.
Yeah, El Maddie.
Maddie Gunner is our field correspondent next
for
week.
celebration. Yeah.
Oh, that's
I
fair.
haven't
Yeah.
I haven't explained that yet, but I've mentioned it on 2 live streams so far.
We hope he gets the gist. You know.
Both of them with John Booz and Andy in the chat.
Incredible.
What was I saying? Oh, hey, yeah. How do you get from like Tar and Pre and Paz to Ragnar?
I think Nar Vizsla would have been a cool name. but
Yeah, it could have
Ragnar
been
is-
or Rag Vizsla.
Rag Vizsla.
Maybe he's got to like at one point decide what part of the name to keep. You know, is it Rag or is it Nar?
Yeah, when he turns
Puberty.
17.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like getting your first car. It's like getting your driver's license. It's like
Yeah, the Vizsla
Yeah.
family, they've got your helmet ceremony and baptism, and then later on you shorten your name.
Shortcut, cut the name in half.
yeah, it's cleaner. As Brian would say, probably.
All right, boys. What do you guys think of episode 5? Anything that you guys want to touch on right away, talk about that we can kind of dive into? There's a lot that happened in the episode, so
I want to say that Elia Kane,
Lover.
oh,
I hate this character.
Oh yeah.
I
do so much.
I have when she showed up in the convert that episode, I did not believe a single word out of her mouth the entire episode. I still don't believe any word out of her mouth. I will not at
agree.
all ever believe a word.
I agree.
And she is so good. It's infuriating. And like when she pops in for, hey, I'm going down to the commissary. You want anything? I'm like, get the hell out of here, you sneaky little, imperial scum.
Yes.
And it's just
Yes.
like, God, she's so good.
Don't let Katie O'Brien hear you because she could crush you with like one hand.
I-
1,000%.
I want her in everything. She's so good.
She's phenomenal. She's phenomenal.
On your Tuesday show last week, you pitched her as a leading role in a HBO drama series, that was my first thought.
Yeah,
I would be pretty
I can't
good.
see her in anything else other than
Yeah.
that role.
Yeah.
I do like that fan cast.
I don't want to spoil anything for those that have not.
She's perfect for that.
I know this channel is really against spoilers for HBO
Right.
prestige television.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about that show. We're not gonna talk about
I know. I'm just fucking with you. You're totally right. You're totally right about it too. I just.
Yeah.
I agree with Frank. This character, like, she's great. She's an incredible character, but she sucks. She
Yeah.
just sucks. And it was that line of, I don't know the exact verbiage, but she turned to Carson and says, "I'm reformed."
Oh, she said I was liberated.
I was liberated.
I was
like,
liberated. I was
the
liberated.
hell you were?
The delivery of that line was spectacular, and it just like, if you didn't believe, for some reason, if you didn't believe that she had some kind of motive or she was working for someone, you have to now. Like, there's no question. She is sneaking
100%.
in, finding her way in to every corner to get any kind of information she can. And it was that line that I'm like, yeah, this girl's got a major plan, or she's working for someone that has a major plan.
I mean,
and something is definitely going down.
You mean her brain wiping Pershing wasn't the first? Clearly.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
it
You
was.
never
It
know.
was, but it was kind of a question of who, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's still kind of a question of who. I've got it down to 2 people.
Well, real quick, can I just say I'm scared for Carson Teva now because I think Elia Kane got him, and I'm like, now I
absolutely.
need Carson to take her out. I need Carson to
Yeah.
take her out.
I thought he was gonna get blown up at the end.
It was very. I wasn't feeling great,
waiting for it.
Yeah,
especially
it was
after
a
watching
little
Bad Batch
nerve-wracking.
before that.
Little,
Ooh.
Yeah.
a little nerve wracking
Yeah.
seeing him do that with the ship at the end. That's for sure.
Uh-huh.
Can I say Paul? I always screw up his name, so I'm just going to call him Paul.
Well, that's his first name, yes.
Paul's acting this episode was fantastic.
Paul Sun Hung Lee.
Yeah, he follows me on shout out to Paul Sun Hung Lee, who follows me on Twitter. We're Twitter friends. We're pals.
Wow.
That means you could DM him.
I know, but I don't want to abuse that power, Brian.
Okay.
Which is why I never DM you. I don't want to abuse that power.
Or, yeah.
I also have your phone number, so I could just
That's
text
also
you.
true.
Yeah, it's. I legitimately, there was a moment when he was in the New Republic bureaucratic building, whatever, that I just went, fuck, I love him on this show. I
Yeah.
love him as this character.
Yeah.
Because, like, the other appearances we've had of him, like, he's been good, but he's kind of just been like, okay, he's generic, generic rebel guy. Like, he's fun to watch. He's got a good attitude, and he's got that sort of rebel pilot charisma that if you want, there's a full episode of me discussing the rebel pilot charisma over on the Whiskey Jedi.
Oh.
Oh, you've been on that? Lucky you.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
But there's something about him and Eli Kane and fucking Tim Meadows. I saw.
I love
Ladies'
that Tim
man.
Meadows
I-
popped in this. I love it.
I think John Beaus mentioned it in the chat. The chat's very far away, so but John Beaus mentioned that ladies' man in Star Wars.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was my first thought, was that he was going to come in with that ladies' man lisp. Of
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, that's
That's
right.
right.
We cannot help them
cannot.
on Navarro. No, we cannot.
See, I get Mean Girls principal.
Yeah.
That's the other one too. You're totally right.
Mine.
Which is the ladies' man character, just without the like lilt.
Kind of, you're right.
Fair.
Yeah, I can. Yeah. I'm sorry, we do not have the resources.
We cannot. They're not part of our government.
Yeah, that's right.
But with Elia Kane, the other thing too was her just being like, "Why don't we let them suffer so they understand where they fucked up?" It's like,
Yeah.
oh Lord,
Yeah.
you're kidding me.
Yeah.
Red flags. Red flags.
While we're talking about Carson Teva, I got to bring up the thing that we have not really mentioned yet. Zeb.
Is that Kara Zebarelios?
We got to talk about Zeb. The appearance of Zeb. Unexpected, popped up at a New Republic base, and he's now a
Delphi.
pilot. Apparently, he's now a New Republic pilot. And we just get a quick appearance of him, no name drop, anything like that, but just the appearance, live action Zeb, which I wasn't sure. I don't know if we were ever gonna see. Obviously, because he's a character that's probably pretty hard to pull off.
That's what I thought.
But
Shows
wow,
what I know.
and he looked incredible.
He looks great.
So
Well,
can I say I watched this morning at 6 a.m. I rewatched it again about an hour ago. Did not realize until the second watching that was him. I just thought it was a random.
What?
I
my
literally.
God.
So I knew it was a Lasat.
Wow.
I knew
Yes.
it was a Lasat, and I knew it was the same voice actor, which
It was funny too because he first comes in like on the left top corner of your screen, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting. It kind of looks like Cal Kestis' Jedi Master." Not even thinking Zeb right away, and then he speaks. I was like, "Holy fuck!"
I
They're
did
doing
it. I
So-
was watching it at like 5:15 in the morning, and I did the whole like
I did.
was
I
like-
did too. I did too.
I couldn't believe it.
Texted us today saying, "Did something happen in Mando? Because I heard Sean squeak, but I didn't want to get up."
So shout out. I knew it was
You little squeak boy.
I knew it was a Lasat, and I knew it was
Jill.
Steve Bloom, but I just assumed they were just using the
Hi, Jill.
more recognizable like voice and as kind of a cameo reference. But shout out to Steve Bloom, the spouse of Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, who you may know as Zara from Legends of Vox Machina,
Yeah.
and she's also the voice director of that show.
All right, good to know.
Wow, good for
You should watch that show.
You've told me this before. and,
I just finished it.
okay. I have some vacation time coming up, so
You don't need that much time.
okay. Well, I'm not just saying like I'm gonna have time
It's a
to
fast watch.
watch some stuff, so I might get around to it. Anyways, we're not talking about that, but we're talking about
We are now.
Talking about Zeb.
I decided.
Talk about Zeb, Sean. Talk about him.
I'm so happy to see him. Now I want to know if he are we planning him for the Ahsoka series, or is
I
it kind
think
of
this
like
is the first seed, 100%. Yeah.
They've been doing this. It feels like they
I think
show one.
this is.
We're there.
I think
The
because
only one we haven't gotten is Hera.
Well,
what we've seen
kinda.
Hera in like
The Ahsoka
bootleg
teaser.
trailers of Ahsoka. Yeah. Like
well, she was.
it's out there.
yeah. At Celebration, they
Um,
showed that teaser, and you saw
Yeah,
the back of Hera's head, and so I was like, "Oh."
But like
snap.
Zeb, to this point, Zeb has been the only one that has the most mystery about what he's doing at this time. Because we know Sabine and Ahsoka eventually meet up. We know that Hera is fighting in the rebellion with Chopper. We obviously know that Ezra
and Jason, I think, right?
and Thrawn and Jason, I would imagine. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ezra and Thrawn are off in a mysterious place. Zeb was he's kind of been in this unknown period. We weren't sure if he stayed with his people to help them or if he came back to help with the fight. And it's been clear for at least a little while. He joined the fight. He's part of the New Republic. And I don't think there's any chance that he's not in Ahsoka. Like,
Well-
if you show him in this and you don't give us
Yeah.
a ghost reunion, like, come on.
I mean, I think he'll be in Ahsoka. I don't think he will be a recurring character in Ahsoka.
I can see that too. I don't
and
think
I-
Hera will either, though.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Because I think that, I mean, he's a provider now. He needs to take care of his husband Callus, and that's
I need
why.
to see that man with that perfectly lined beard at some point.
Who do you cast?
I
That's gonna
don't
be hard.
know.
That's gonna be hard.
Okay.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
I don't know.
real
Yeah.
tough.
You got one?
No,
Brian,
I mean,
Brian, you know
kinda.
who voices Callus, right?
I don't.
Yeah, I mean, so look,
David Oyelowo.
it's not like we didn't do this
voices
before with
Callus.
Darth Vader, Jake.
Yeah.
So
I know. I'm just saying it's a little.
But you're
different
right.
with Vader.
Yeah.
It's a little different with Vader, who has a mask on. David Oyelowo voices Callus, and that probably would be very difficult to do on screen. So
Sure.
I mean, maybe if he's hung out in the sun too long, but other than that,
for Callus though, what about, because you want a handsome man,
Okay.
Glenn Powell.
I could see it.
I don't know actors.
He was in Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, you didn't. Damn it!
Jesus, Sean.
You're off the show.
Goodness.
But I don't know what anyone else thinks about that.
I just looked up, just curious, fan casting, and people had the what's his face, the guy from Andor that is the incel. What's his name?
Oh, what's his? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Really? As
CERN.
Callus?
Yeah.
Discount Mike Kalinowski.
Yeah.
Cyril?
I mean, who doesn't look
Cyril?
anything?
Cyril.
Cyril Karn.
Cyril Karn.
Cyril.
That's
Yeah.
what it is, yeah.
I know you guys love fan casting, so everyone who wants that's Monday's topic over on POV is fan casting.
Oh, no idea.
The rest of the Rebels
Why not?
crew.
Why not? Hey, maybe.
You're welcome.
Maybe.
That one's free.
That one's free.
Actually, I think technically I called myself the producer and no one argued, so I get
You
to
did.
pick
Yeah,
episode
you did.
titles for
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I can't look at-
I know. I want him to be over here. We have toast. We have toast off screen, and
When we first started, he was looking at us,
we thought he was going to come over here.
and now he's actually did an about face, and he's turned. Now he's not looking at us. He's looking
Just
right
looking
at
at the wall.
Just looking right at a wall.
All right. Well, look, we talked a little bit about Zeb.
Oh,
Let's get-
sorry, I have the perfect fan cast.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
The dude from Overlord.
Wyatt Russell?
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
currently
Okay.
playing U.S. agent.
Yeah. So,
Doesn't mean he can't be in a Star Wars.
yeah.
Another discount Mike Kalinowski type. So what you're saying, we should just cast Mike Kalinowski as Agent Callus.
Sure.
Okay.
not?
Great. There we go.
Well, what's the guy's name who played Sawyer in Lost?
Holloway, Josh Holloway.
Josh Holloway.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking good.
There you go.
Especially because it's a few years later.
Yeah.
That's okay.
He'd be good. He'd be good.
Did we finally nail it, guys? Did we
I
finally?
think
Did
we
we finally
nailed it.
fix Star
Good
Wars?
call,
I think
Frank.
we did. I think we
Jamie
finally fixed it.
Lannister.
That wouldn't be too bad. That
okay.
wouldn't be too bad either. Yeah.
What's his name?
Nikolai Walster Calder.
yeah, it's
like something like that. Yeah.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah. All right, back to Mandalorian. Let's get back to Mandalorian. So, we talked about the Zeb stuff. We talked a little bit about the Carson stuff. There's obviously a little bit towards the end of the episode, but let's talk about the Mandalorian aspect of all of this. Before the whole bow and armor.
Is that why you have me here?
That's why we have you here, Sean. I want you to start this one off. So, look, after Carson finds them, and because he's got an old pal, R5.
Hell yeah.
Who's his little spy,
Hilarious.
which I love it.
What a
I
narc.
love it.
Love
it. I just love that they're adding to the mythology of R5. It's great.
Totally,
It's just
man.
fantastic.
Oh my
I
God.
love it.
Well, I want to know when he went and joined the rebellion. Was that before or after episode 4?
Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, so after Carson Teva finds him, kind of gives him the information, they debate it. They have this little powwow where if you're holding the hammer, you get to voice yourselves in front of the people.
I love that.
Stick.
He's holding
Which
the
is
conch.
Yeah, it's a super interesting way of doing things, but it also fits the Mandalorian style. What did you guys think about how not just that sequence, but also Paz sticking up for him and kind of being like, "Hey, let's do this. we're Mandalorians. Let's go fight this fight.
So I want to bring up the hammer thing is funny to me because I like it as a symbol of authority, right? Like it's a very dwarven sort of medieval blacksmith society.
Yeah.
You know, you could totally see that in Lord of the Rings, like Durin passing the hammer to the next speaker, right? I like that a lot. But Din's got a much more powerful symbol of authority on his fucking hip. So it was just kind of funny to me that like you've got Din holding this hammer like I have the talking stick, but really he should just be able to light that saber and be like, everyone, we're doing exactly what I say. I don't care what you think. But that alone is why Din is not ready to wield the saber because he's not ready for the authority. So that was just the first thing that crossed my mind when I saw the hammer. As far as the Paz thing, I found that really interesting because I kind of, once he stood up to start speaking, I knew exactly what was going to happen. I didn't.
I did not actually.
Oh, really?
I was so just like,
yeah.
Again, I'm just so absorbed into what's happening.
Because they set up for it. They set up for it really well last episode.
Believe me, I felt like an idiot afterwards for sure. But I was like,
okay. I don't think you are. I think that you had the
same thing. I was like, here's the a-hole.
Yeah. But you guys had the reaction that they wanted you to have.
Yes.
Right.
Because we're simpletons. Yeah.
yes.
Well, no, but here's the thing: when you write a scene like that, it's set up where the audience should have this reaction, and then if they go back and think about it, they go, "Oh, I guess that does make sense for the character." Like, you know, that's how character development is meant to work. You're supposed to not see it coming until it happens, and then you add up all the pieces, and you go, "Okay, hey, that works." You know, that's great writing. That's wonderful. But I mean, they set it up like, especially when he hands over when Din passes over Ragnar when they're hanging off that cliff edge last episode.
Yeah.
That's when I knew. I went, okay, this is like they have gotten Paz on their side now, and that's super interesting because
they're even now because he helped him out in Navarro, and now he's.
But not only are they even, but there's this sort of respect there because Paz is not a foundling. Paz is not. Right. You know, Din is new, which they use the term foundling loosely because they refer to Ragnar as a foundling, which he's not. Right? He is Mandalorian by blood. Mm-hmm. But there is certainly a little bit of a, despite the fact that it's not built to have it, there is certainly a little bit of a hierarchical give and take between people like Paz and Bo-Katan and the Mandalorian, or in the Armorer, who are Mandalorian by blood, and then people like Din and Grogu and the other foundlings, the people shooting at the lake, right? Those are not people that are Mandalorian by birth. Those are people that have been brought into Mandalorian culture.
Just a funny sentence. Oh yeah, and then there's other people who shoot at the lake, and then there's guys who are actually born into it.
Yeah,
and then there's people who shoot at a freaking lake. Yeah.
My favorite thing is that like the episode before, they were basically shooting at the lake, and a monster came out and ate them.
Yeah.
So then, like 2 days later, they're like, "It's fine now," and then the same thing happens.
Well, there is so Bo not to jump to the next scene, but Bo-Katan gives that stunning, briefing speech as they're boarding the Comric, the Gauntlet. It's funny they stopped referring it to the Gauntlet. The ship has a name. It's called the Gauntlet.
They did say it this episode, or one of the pirates.
They did say it at one point. Yes, they did.
One of the pirates said, "I'm going after the Gauntlet." Is what they.
No, the Comric.
Okay.
But both were uttered. I heard both in this episode.
Yeah. So it is a Comric class fighter transport. It is the bigger version of what Fen Rao flies in Rebels. Mm-hmm. But we see Maul and Bo both fly the Gauntlet, and then another Comric class fighter transport in Clone Wars. It's a dope ship. It's like a symbol of Mandalorian military heritage.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why that speech is so interesting, because again, the Armorer, Din, Az, and Bo are the only veterans here. And we know Din's not that much of a veteran, right? Everyone else there is they're fresh, they're new. They have joined the Mandalorians since they've been in exile, right? That's which, Brian, you bring up the difference between them shooting at the lake and them performing a fucking paradrop raid. That was meant to be their test, and I love that pep rally speech. It's so good.
I do want to say one thing that I think was really great about the writing lead in this whole sequence and leading up to it, rather, from Bo was, you're going to go in there like a military unit, and it puts this idea in your brain so that when you see them drop out, you see them as a military unit, and they're coming around the corner, guns, and you buy into that. Even though last episode we saw them shooting at a river, but now I see them as a military unit,
lake.
as they're sorry. Well, I mean,
Lagoon
whatever.
at worst.
So that's what I really liked about this sequence too, was because they talk about the Mandalorians being these great warriors, right? And people were kind of taking some pot shots at them last week, about how they looked. And it was kind of a little silly looking. But now in the streets of Navarro, they're, doing an operation of Operation Navarro, if you will. And this is so cool, man. I mean, just seeing them storm the streets. It was very modern, urban warfare type of feel. And it was so cool to watch.
So the choreography is a little bit floaty when it comes to the Mandalorians. It is hard to portray them in a way to the level of like a modern military thriller.
I agree.
And that kind of bums me out, and I don't know why that is. So I do want to mention that, like, hey, this is not flawless, right? But man, it's cool to see, I just think there's some shots it's like, Paz kind of wildly swinging the chain gun around. I don't know.
I will say, actually, one of my critiques about that Paz with the chain, Gatling gun, basically. Yeah. He was just shooting it, and there wasn't like any recoil from, the gun. I would have liked
that strong.
Right. I would like to have seen a little recoil from it, because even I think when Cara Dune had a heavy
same thing.
It was she kind of had, there was some little bit of recoil there.
Based in it.
Yeah, I guess that's true, but I think. I don't think Baze didn't have that size of a gun that Paz has. So I think a gun of that size, I was like, I kind of would think there'd be a little bit more, recoil on that thing. But whatever.
I just want to shout out Sean Room in the chat. He's talking about whether or not Ragnar is Paz's biological son, which, is one of our questions tonight from one of our viewers. So if you want to hear our answer to that, you can check us out on Scoundrels Inc., which will air tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific. And if you want to get your questions in, you could join our Discord over on our channel and send us questions.
You could.
All the links are in the description if you want to.
Thank you.
No, look, I get the recoil. The recoil, like, sure,
yeah.
I get it. But in the moment while I'm watching it, I could care less.
Totally.
Like,
totally.
I could care less. That I watched it twice now. I watched the episode right before we started just to make sure I was fresh, and I just love everything about that sequence. Them raiding the streets and them working as a unit. You have the two teams. Some of them aren't perfect. Some of them are a lot better than others. I loved the way we saw, like the cable being used to bring guys in and then just absolutely clothesline them.
Well, and
there was some really cool stuff in that sequence.
You see them kind of picking each other up, like when they do stumble or fall, whatever. You see them picking each other up, looking out for each other. You see them use the wrist rockets. Like,
oh yeah.
I could have gone for a little more Mandalorian gadgetry, because you know what we haven't seen in a long time?
Knee blasters.
The bird, the
whistling birds. The whistling birds.
Yeah. That would have been cool. Yeah. That's like 6 shots or whatever in one.
But
whatever.
is it? Does every? I don't think every Mando has.
No.
Right?
No. Because like Din, for example, doesn't have a flamethrower.
Yeah.
He did.
He did, but
he
does not
use it. He used it against Ahsoka.
Right, but he doesn't. I should say he doesn't have the same flame, like, because the whistling birds and the whatever they call the jetpack.
The jetpack.
They had a cool name for it.
The Jetpack 5000.
I'm sure
Jetty 2000.
Someone in
Andy
the
or Jane will put it in the chat.
Yeah, someone in the chat will correct me. Usually Andy or Jane.
The Jetsters.
The Dexter Jetster.
Yes.
They're not standardized models, right? So it's kind of a matter of who wants that or who it will fit for. But yeah, we don't ever see Din use all his gadgets anymore. We don't
Phoenix
ever see
Kid.
Rising Phoenix. I think it was.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go. Andy just said it. Rising.
Yeah,
Phoenix.
perfect. Which another thing I didn't bring up on our show, and I really regretted it after I thought about it. They refer to the apprentices that go on the hunting party as the Snarehawks,
Oh.
which is the so you know how Rex has those like two echelons on his like helmet. Those are called Jai Galar eyes, which translates to Snarehawk. Huh. So that's like a animal from Mandalore that I liked that little attention to detail. They're like, oh yeah, they're the Snarehawk squad apprentices.
Interesting.
You know, take them with it. But that's whenever you see those, or they're in the Boba Fett concept art.
Okay.
Whenever you see those are called. That's what. Anyways,
Interesting.
I'll be over here.
I love it. That's why you're here, Sean. That's why you're here.
Well, I love how we started our last episode last week, and Garrett calls me out. He's like, so this is the part where Sean's gonna nerd out about all the costuming and the ships and the Greeblies. I'm like, fuck. He's on to me.
I'm like, yep, he's on to me.
It is fair. Brian, thoughts
Someone's got to do it. Someone's got to do it.
Brian, thoughts
Sorry.
on the street raid? Anything Mando?
I mean, they're whooping. You know what? I mean, so it's fine with me. I think Armor. She fought a little lazy. Not gonna lie. I was a little disappointed, because I was thinking about remember that first one she did, where she just
in the sewer you're talking about,
Like the stormtroopers?
Yes, where she went ham. She kind of went into this. This one was these guys are D level, worth my time, and just took him out that way. And I'm like, okay, I see you. You know when to actually care.
Still loved every second of it.
Oh yeah, obviously. I mean, she's literally smacking them with a hammer and stuff. I mean, anything Mando. It's funny because I was thinking about it when we saw the trailer and stuff. I feel like we've seen everything at this.
I'm going to go back and watch the trailer and see what we haven't seen yet. But I think you're right.
It definitely feels like we've seen the majority, if not all of it.
I think the last big thing was them dropping out. And
I, for some reason, I remember there being a shot of the armor, ready to
interesting
to tango. But I could just be making that up because I've wanted to see it again.
Because we've also finally seen the Carson Teva line that everyone was like, who's he talking to? We know what that's doing now.
Yeah.
I think we're pretty good for the most part of the trailer, which is exciting because with these last 3 episodes now, Jesus, it's
gone by so fast.
Oh my gosh, 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, and look, the ending, and we can get to the ending and specifically the not the Carson Teva stuff, which we'll get to, but I more focus on the Bo-Katan and Armorer stuff.
Totally,
the conversation between the two of them, what it all means, do we believe it, what it's setting up, because we only have 3 episodes left, so we're getting down to crunch time. They're gonna have to focus very singularly here in a short amount of time to make sure we wrap it all up at the end of the season. How did everyone feel about that? The armor discussion, her calling Bo in, having her take the helmet off, talking about the mythosaur. It's kind of a big deal.
Before we jump to that, one last thing, can I say finally I'm so glad someone shot at the Kowakian monkey lizards.
Whoa!
They drive me nuts, but I also laughed way too hard when they were over there.
Yeah, that way. Yeah, because after they got shot at, they're like, no, they're over there.
They were just literally
yeah.
Oh,
I don't like them. They creep me out ever since I was
all right. Well, I will tell you, I was walking around the happiest place on earth yesterday, and
Venice Beach.
Yep, that's the one. And there was someone's motorized wheelchair with a Kowakian monkey lizard,
wait, what?
Handmade, custom Kowakian monkey lizard on the front, and it was
incredible,
dope. And I got so excited. I want to jump around to a different part that we skipped, which is Grief Karga giving them the congratulations speech in front of the Comric, which reminds me of the shot. I think it's the end of it's either the end of season 3 of Mandalorian or of Rebels, sorry, where they're kind of giving like all the Mandalorians are convening in front of the Comric again. Same shot. They're in front of the
No,
Comric
that's
and the
the
Ghost.
beginning of season 4.
Beginning of season 4. Okay, so and where Sabine passes over the Darksaber.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
the first 2
yeah.
episodes of season 4.
So it very much reminds me of that. Same shot because you had the same thing. You pan around to all the Mandalorians, kind of like accepting, like, yes, this is the way. You know, this is what we want. So I just liked that parallelism. I don't know if it was on purpose, but it is Dave. So maybe.
So the trailer, literally the only thing left is the droid bar.
No, there's 2 things. We also the Mandalorian city. There's a shot of the city.
That's
with
right.
the dome.
Right. That's right.
Andy said it in the chat as well, both Jane and Andy. But we have the droid bar, and then we have the dome.
I wonder if that's
is
that a
city.
flashback or is it
It's
something
gotta
else?
be a flashback.
Or is it another
which, I'll be
Mandalorian
honest,
like plan system or something like that?
I thought we were getting a flashback this episode because of the previously on, when the very first shot is the armorer talking about the Darksaber. I was like, oh, we're getting a history on the Darksaber.
I want that.
So do I. I want Fen Rao to come in very Rebels-esque and do a Darksaber flashback.
Yeah. He's gonna give his TED talk on the Darksaber again.
Can I just say though, I used to watch the previously on for every episode, but ever since the Mythosaur episode,
I skip.
I skip now.
Yes,
I'm like, guys, I can't anymore. And I was like, so even for this episode, I was out of habit. I was just gonna watch the previously on, and so I still haven't gone back to watch it, the previously on, and it popped up, and I was like, man, I gotta skip because. You overplayed your hand the last time, and
the Mythosaur one was bad. It was very apparent.
I was talking about that same thing with your other 2 co-hosts for your other show last night. Was like, I don't know that I want to watch the previously ons anymore.
Yeah,
and
I'll go back, but not initially.
What did I miss? I'm not.
In episode 2, when we met the Mythosaur, in the previously on, they were talking about the Mythosaur.
Well, and in episode 1, they start the previously on with IG-11.
Yeah.
Episode 2, they start it by talking about the Mythosaur. Episode 3,
you're right.
They talk about it. Episode 3, they start with Pershing and like. So it's every episode they're a little too on the nose with what they show in the previously ons, or as are.
It's basically like, hey, remember this because this is about to happen.
Yeah, remember this because it's going to happen. It's like I don't need to remember it.
I watched it last week, guys.
I do remember.
Yeah. The Prevon, as Kevin Smith would say.
Shout out to
current
former friend of the show.
Yeah, former friend of the show, Kevin Smith.
Not this show.
Oh, he's the enemy of this show.
If you're not with me, then you're against me. Sorry.
Back to the armor and Bo-Katan, though.
Yeah.
What are we thinking about this, guys? Because this is a big deal.
You don't want to
take her helmet off. I want to know.
So, I was
trying to make a dirty joke.
Well, in that case, I do want to know. I've been really thinking about what's been her mindset since joining, for like a better word, joining the covert, and I was thinking, it must be in some ways, I think, a bit of a relief to not have like this burden on you to be the leader of Mandalore, reunite Mandalorians. All her people have abandoned her. Mandalore is decimated. She has nowhere to go. She's wallowing in self-pity, right?
It's annihilated. Decimated would only be if 1/10 of them were killed.
Okay, hold on. I don't. Anyways,
that's why Sean's here. That's why. Sean's here.
Yeah. And so when Bo-Katan is baptized into the covert, and she starts saying, this is the way, and adhering to their practices or the old ways, I feel like there must have been a sense of comfort and home for her that she has not had for a long time, and I can imagine someone just falling into a a comfortable way of living once again. You're around your people again, and that feels like home, and it's something, hers has been destroyed, like physically, right?
Yeah.
And so now she has this, and I think, because everyone was talking about, is she just playing the long game? Is she, just put it on a face, is this a front or whatever? I really think she bought in and was enjoying this way of life where she didn't have all this responsibility on her shoulders. And it also seems like it's not really on anyone's shoulders in this covert, right? Because we see, even though she does take charge, like that's like within her innately to take charge and lead a war party or whatever. So when the armor tests her, basically, I feel like, take off your helmet, do you respect my station? And she is not, it's not like she swore fealty to the armorer, but like she is definitely respectful towards the armorer, and I guess in a way grateful, and adheres to her request and takes off her helmet. And I think watching Bo-Katan in this scene, I think she looks scared. I think she's scared of the prospect that this is in fact her calling. And sometimes the thing that you want the most, you ignore it because you're afraid you're going to fail. And she's afraid she's going to fail. And so if she can ignore it, then she'll never fail. But now the armor has placed this upon her, and she's scared to fail. And she doesn't look thrilled in this scene, to me at least. But she looks like, yeah, this is something that I have to do.
Agreed.
Sorry. I've been thinking about it like all day. Like
You're fine. You're fine. I feel it. I definitely understand where you're coming from. And it's also something that she's experienced before. She's been down that path of having to kind of unite clans and Mandalorians before. Maybe not to this extent or at this, time of her life, but she's been there before. So she may be reminiscing of the moments that she's had where she has failed. It's going to be interesting. I really don't know how I feel about the armor and what she's doing and how she's kind of going about it. And I know a lot of people online have talked about it today, but like Din has spent the last however long trying to get back to her, right? And reclaim part of this convert. He does it, but then the second Bo is doing her thing, she's allowed to take her helmet off. Like I'm just interested where all of this is going with these two.
So I'm gonna jump off to one of the questions in the chat. Is do we trust the cult? Fuck no, I don't.
No,
I do not like the Children of the Watch.
Yeah.
I do not like them as the predominant lens to view Mandalorian culture through. I like them as a tertiary sect that is slightly antagonistic to whatever the main thrust of Mandalorian culture is, which has kind of been my issue with the Armorer and Paz from the start, especially considering Paz in some way, shape, or form is related to Pre-Vizsla, and this sect is in some way, shape, or form related to Death Watch. So I've got theories about that, but we don't want to talk about it for an hour.
Says who?
We got to film 3 other shows. So yeah, it's just a matter of like, I don't trust her. I don't trust the armor. Not that I think she's going to do something nefarious, or not that I think she legitimately wants exactly what Bo wants, which is to reunite and rebuild Mandalore. And that's why I like this turn so much, right? It subverts everything I expected to happen with this show. Or I guess it subverts the way I thought it would happen.
That's what I was going to say. Because we've talked about a compromise of ways, and
which is ultimately what I want. I want some middle ground between Casca Reeves and Paz Vizsla, because Casca Reeves does not respect being a Mandalorian. She does not respect the armor. She does not respect other Mandalorians. Mm-hmm. She respects herself and her own fighting prowess. Mm-hmm. Whereas clearly the Children of the Watch do respect each other, even if there is some tension there between like Paz and Din, or at least there was prior to this episode. So this is what I wanted, but I expected it to be brought about by Bo and Din's own desires, own actions, and own, their own actions. I didn't expect it to be thrust upon Bo-Katan by the armorer.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that it's not Din doing that, right? Because I thought the whole point was going to be Din is learning from Bo-Katan and Din's learning from the Children of the Watch, and he needs to reconcile those two beliefs. I still hope that's where we're going. But if we're not, I like this, right? I like that she removed her helmet. I like that the armorer made her remove her helmet. Because I think, for me, that was a moment of the armorer showing you clearly are as good of a Mandalorian as we are, even though you don't follow these idiosyncrasies. And it is the armorer recognizing and admitting that, hey, these things don't matter. It's the way I look at it, right? Like, I was raised Catholic. There's a whole bunch of pomp and ceremony to Catholic Mass and Catholic tradition that ultimately doesn't matter, right? The ceremony and the circumstance is only there to remind you, the parishioner, the meaning behind those things, right? So the helmet is there to remind, you keeping on the helmet is just there to remind you about being a Mandalorian and what it is, that this armor is your life, right? Your weapons are your religion. All these things, they're not there necessarily to actually inform whether or not you're Mandalorian. They're there to remind you, the wearer, the wielder of the weapons, the person following these dumb traditions, to remind you what those things mean. And for Din, it means a lot because Din was rescued from, the fucking dregs of the Clone Wars. He was hiding in a hole while battle droids swarmed his position, probably killed his biological parents, probably killed everyone he knew, and he was rescued by the Death Watch. So to him, it is salvation. It is breaking your chains. It is going above your station where you are. It is striving to be a better warrior and a better fighter and a better person, which is referenced in Paz Vizsla's speech today. I'm sorry, I'm ranting, but I'm going somewhere here. Our show's going to be so bad because I'm getting out all my good energy here.
Don't worry, I got stuff.
Okay, great. Cool. It's there's so much that's built on there that it just I'm hoping that this was the armorer seeing through the actions of Din and Bo-Katan today, in the midst of battle, that, hey, some of these things don't matter. And maybe she's always known that, but it doesn't matter because her whole culvert is apprentices, aside from Paz, right? Even Din, up until the first season, Din was still pretty much an apprentice. He was still rising up. He didn't have his whole armor yet. It was through the actions that he was granted a sigil and granted the other armor pieces, and now he's granted the charge of a foundling and all this stuff. I appreciate that the armorer. In my opinion, this was not the armorer's long-running plan, and that's something that I'm worried about. That they look at Leia.
I kind of disagree with that, actually.
You think the armorer has been plotting this the whole time?
I think the armor was waiting to evolve what they've been building, because they first had to occupy a space of secrecy, and through this event, they're now out there, right? They're not hiding anymore. They have a plot of land on Navarro, and they're gonna make a settlement and whatnot. And so they're not underground anymore. They're with everyone else. They're visible.
Is Navarro going to become new Mandalore?
No, I don't think so. I think they'll go back to Mandalore.
I mean, I think that's the idea. Right. Will it happen? I don't know.
They clearly like planets with lots of weird things that'll kill you. There's not enough of those on Navarro.
Well,
that's fair.
Who knows? Who knows what lies in Bullock Canyon, which was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Cool.
My one regret in my short life so far was that I never got to meet Jeremy Bullock.
Yeah, that'd have been cool.
For those that don't know, Jeremy Bullock is the actor who portrayed famously Captain Colton.
That's right. That's where That's where I go every time.
Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith, and no one else. He didn't play anyone else.
Not a single other person in armor or otherwise. Not even like. Could you even imagine him playing an Imperial? Not me.
Nope.
Not me.
No, I don't remember
think he's
that.
got the looks.
I didn't bring that up because I don't remember that Imperial's name, but he did play an Imperial in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. He played 2 different people in Empire. Multi-talented. I mean, jeez.
Who else was he in Empire?
He was that Ugnaught, right? He was on the Ugnaught? Yeah.
Queel?
Yeah.
Can we talk about Shmi Ugnaught? What do you guys think
For
of Shmi?
real. I had Major Hook vibes between Gorian Shard and the Ugnaught. I was like, man.
He even had the red
so
bandana.
Cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was great.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I love that. I miss Gorian Shard already.
And the pirate intro music for this episode was great.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good.
I like
So
So
Vane.
fun.
fantastic.
I like Vane a lot.
I hate him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, he's
Yeah, I hate him
like
too. He's a
the-
coward.
Yeah.
He's the ultimate coward. So
Yeah, I just
Um,
like the way he looks.
I wanted to point out, I wish there was a human on the crew.
Pirates?
Yeah, because the whole crew is. I know you guys don't get into the cultural implications of Star Wars on this show, right? That's not your bag.
Are you saying because they were all non?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all. There are gangster species in Star Wars, right? Everyone was a Nikto or a Trandoshan or a Weequay. And it's like, okay, yeah, I get it. It's all the species from Jabba's palace. But I don't know. I think that's kind of like, culturally reductive.
Speciest.
Well, it's culturally reductive, right? It says that these are criminal cultures, and we never see these types of characters in more redeeming scenarios. Name me one Nikto in Star Wars that is in a redeeming spot. Aside from in Star Wars, Jedi battle scars.
Is there one? Is there one?
Yeah, the Stormtrooper's girlfriend is a Nikto.
Okay.
I don't think you got that far because you didn't finish the book.
No, I didn't.
You stopped at chapter 6 and haven't gone
there's
back.
a
I haven't
Nikto.
gone back. I have some vacation time coming up.
There's a Nikto Jedi.
There, sure, I believe you.
It.
I don't-
Sa Nikto.
Wait, their last name's Nikto?
Yeah.
Oh, Klaatu Verada Nikto?
I don't know.
Okay.
Don't ask me.
Did I just derail the show?
no, you're fine. You're fine. I wanted to say, Sean, thank you for your rant about the armor and the Mandalorian.
We're gonna clip that out and put it on our channel.
Oh.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, just
No.
clip little pieces
Yeah.
that you guys need.
Yeah.
We're just gonna
I-
record an intro and an outro for our show and then slap it on the end.
It's
The
armor
Jedi's
is-
name was I'm a Gundy.
What? Okay.
And Andy's pointing out Ida Forte. I don't remember who that was.
Kia Forte.
Yeah, Kia Forte. Guys, right now during Kia Truck Month, get yourself a Kia Forte for the low price of $36,000. Of course, you're only going to pay $300 a month with 18% financing, something.
And now you're derailing the show.
Where's my train whistle?
Oh no,
not today, not today. I did just want to say quickly before we get to the final scene that I'm a little bit more with Frank in the armor. That I think this has kind of been a plan, maybe from the beginning. That's just my personal feelings. I just felt like the entire time, like she's just one step ahead of everybody, and maybe working with someone. I don't know. Maybe it's someone else on top of her. I don't know. But that kind of transitions into the final scene.
Speaking of someone else on top of her, are you shipping Bo-Katan at the
Okay.
Have you seen that?
You couldn't set that up for me.
Man, let me tell you,
was
it's
thinking
been
the same thing.
I had to just because Jake set that up so well. I had to get the pun in there.
take off your helmet. Now you
So
take off
okay,
your
so
helmet.
when they make not those two,
Go on, Brian.
when Mandos make
When Mandalorians.
do they keep the helmet on?
Well, Brian, when a Mandalorian and a woman DeLorean love each other very much.
I just imagine like when it's over, they just look at each other.
No,
and
they
say,
can take off
"This
the
is
they can
way."
take off the they can take off the armor. They cannot take off the helmets.
That's what I'm
They can take
saying.
off the helmets. They just can't open their
No,
eyes.
no kissing.
You
Yeah.
just can't open your eyes.
Just
Yeah.
smack helmets, not the very.
There is
Clink
so
it.
so
Yeah.
they're
This
they're
way.
actually in Legends canon there is a like Mandalorian kiss that involves it's you touch the tops of your helmets.
Like penguins.
Yeah, like penguins. Yeah, Mandalorians.
They mate like penguins.
What we learned, Mandalorians mate like penguins. The Mandalorian will.
Do they touch antennas? Is that
I don't.
Yeah, the woman Mandalorian will lay the eggs, and then the Mandalorian will sit.
They
on
rub
the nest.
jetpacks together. Is what they do. Yeah. You jet my pack, and I'll jet your pack, and we'll I don't know. Now I'm derailing.
You know, the
show.
best part is we're the show called Scoundrels Inc. and we never do this on our show, but we get on Jake's family-friendly show, and it's all you know.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do?
We were expecting this. We were expecting
I'm
this.
sure.
Yeah, you should know what you're gonna get with this
Yeah,
name. That
we know. So like,
no,
I
but
don't.
So I do want to point out I've got this. Not that I want to ship the heteronormative relationship here, but I've got it in my head that the way this show should end, who should rule Mandalore at the end? It should be a diarchy. It should be.
Council.
Well, I see. I just want two. I just need two. That's it.
I see. I think Bo and Din together.
I think Bo and Din, and I don't know that we haven't not had romantic tension between the two. I don't think it's been primary, and I appreciate that if they do go down this route, that they have not, fucking
Made it blatantly obvious.
signposted it, right? Because I think for them it would be a relationship of respect, and it would be a relationship of this is what's best for our people, and we both want the same thing. Therefore, our union is not a romantic union, but it's very Game of Thronesian, union of responsibility. And so that's kind of the route I hope they're going. I didn't get any sexual tension between the Armorer and Bo-Katan. I'll tell you what I thought. I thought the Armorer was going to take off her helmet and reveal that she's Bo's mom, because we don't know jack shit about Bo and Sabine's mom, but we've heard stories about the dad.
It would have been wild.
Which I was fucking right about Emery.
Hey,
this is my next called shot.
So you think the Armorer is Bo's mom?
No, I'm going to say the same thing I said about Emerly.
Emery? Yeah,
I think it's Emerly. Or was it Emery? It might be
I think
Emery.
it's
Emery.
Emery.
I fucking spoilers for Bad Batch, but I fucking called Emerly being a clone.
Emery.
Well, it is
I'm so glad I barely got in Bad Batch before this.
Okay, well,
okay.
I mean, even if I just spoiled you on that, I'm sorry. It's such a minor thing at the end of the episode.
Well, really? It's minor?
Yeah, it is.
It's not. Wait. It goes beyond the fact that she's a clone.
Don't say more.
I know,
but because if someone in the chat hasn't watched it,
I know.
I'm making them feel
what
better.
I'm saying is,
I'm making them feel better by saying it's minor. But I'm just trying. I know that, Frank. We're gonna talk about that in an hour and a half. I'm trying to make them feel better.
Okay. All right.
Anyways, Emerly.
Whatever.
I don't think that the Armorer is Bo's mom, but I want it, and I won't be surprised.
There was like the tiniest, tiny bit of me that was like, is it gonna be Satine? Just be like, surprise, bitch.
Oh no, she got fucking beheaded.
I know.
No, you know who else? You know who else she could be? She could be Rook Cast. So if you remember,
that one is all over online.
Yeah, and mostly it's because of the spikes on the helm.
Yeah.
But
like, I don't buy that one though.
Similar attitude though.
Sure.
I would be okay if it was Rook Cast, but I do like the idea that we've just never met her before. Like she's been hiding in the shadows, or just kind of been watching from afar and picked up once the Mandalorians were pretty much destroyed, and is doing her own thing. Like, I don't think.
Yeah,
I'm all for that idea.
Similar frame of thought as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Back off though. She's been
she's been great.
And you can always tell when she's the one in the suit because she does that walk.
Yeah, it is.
I think it usually is her in the suit. I think for most things it's her.
She doesn't have much action to do.
Well, that and she, I believe she did stunts for like.
Oh, really?
For like
she did stunts for all the Riddick movies and everything.
Whatever.
So.
Yeah, the Riddick.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, have you seen the movie that she's in with Riddick?
Yeah, I've seen the movie. I
Okay,
just didn't
great.
know that.
It's very memorable.
I don't know
okay.
what is it called? Is it called?
Is it Pitch Black or is Pitch Black the first
It
one?
is Pitch Black.
Oh,
It
Or
is.
is she just in Riddick? She might just be in Riddick.
Oh,
way.
the
The
more
third
new
one is Riddick.
We'll just have to watch
is
it again.
Riddick.
Yeah,
They're
you know what? I'm sorry. We'll have to watch that movie again.
They're making another one, so just stay tuned. Just stay
Yeah.
tuned.
I think Jake is not remembering the scene we're talking about.
No.
I'm not remembering.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't remember, but I believe.
She was
I'll
right.
text it in the group chat.
Perfect. Final scene of the episode.
Yeah.
Carson Teva finding the destroyed ship that was the transport for Moff Gideon. He has been either rescued, taken, something, but they find a chip of Beskar in the ship. And obviously it's leaning straight to thinking that Mandalorians did this. Are they being framed? Was it actually a group of Mandalorians? Was it the convert that we know? Was it a different convert? Hopefully it's answered next week and not saved for later on. But boys, what do we think about the final scene and the reveal that Gideon is out there, taken, and who took him?
Well, I'll say, as soon as it was brought up in that episode, the convert, they're talking about, I heard Gideon didn't even make it to the Tribune. I was like, well, yeah makes sense. Totally. He's been, rescued or, bailed out of jail, whatever you want to call it. So I totally believe that 100%. Yeah. And that makes sense. That makes sense to me. This transport, I think it was interesting that it was an Imperial shuttle that the New Republic was using. But it's like, yeah, they're kind of like repurposing old Imperial stuff anyway, but still, like, come on, guys. You have your other ships. You can, why does it have to be an Imperial ship? Anyways, that aside, my first instinct about who it could be was the reveal that it's like the Beskar alloy, whatever, is recognized in the ship or something like that, right? Because it immediately is after the scene with Bo-Katan being charged to reunite other Mandalorians, I immediately think of the Mandalorians that left Bo-Katan. And I'm thinking, is it a part of those Mandalorians that went on this whatever mission to kidnap Gideon, or at worst even working for Gideon for whatever reason? Was it that group of Mandalorians that's responsible for this heist or kidnapping or rescue, whatever you want to call it? I'm not sure yet, but that's where my mind goes. I wonder if they have that cruiser, they run up to this shuttle because all Imperial, this Imperial cruiser, Imperial shuttle. It's like
that would include Cosca Reeves, right?
Yeah, so
presumably,
and Wolf, whatever his name was,
Axe Wolves.
Max Wolves.
Axe or Max?
Axel.
I think it was
Wolves.
Axe. It was Axe.
Axel Rose. You're right.
Axel Foley.
I have theory.
I think it's
Brian's got a theory, John.
Right, I'm not gonna say anything profound. I'm just jumping off you.
Okay.
I think it was Cosca Reeves and the rest of those fucks, or some Beskar Dark Troopers.
I think the Dark
Troopers stealing mine.
Oh, come on, Brian! I didn't think you were gonna say that. God damn it!
I think the Dark Troopers is a good call. I think
usually Jake does that to you, not me.
I know. I knew when you kept going, I was like, he's for sure gonna say it.
I think Dark Troopers is a very viable option.
Yeah,
because
I think it's definitely on the table.
I think if the other group of Mandalorians were gonna be taking Gideon, it would be to punish him their way for what he did rather than saving him. So
yeah, totally.
But
like, is there still a sect of Mandalorians that once upon a time they were loyal or worked with the Empire? Mm-hmm. There could still be a leftover group that's still running with Imperials at the,
Yeah, so presumably Gar Saxon and the Imperial Super Commandos did follow Moff Gideon if Gideon was in charge of the operations on Mandalore.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a possibility. But Brian, I want you to tell me all about those Beskar Wrapped Dark Troopers.
I mean, if we're going on like logic, it's one of two. It's either the Dark Troopers, or it's the Sasha Banks character,
Cosca Reeves.
Like, I mean, wasn't it announced she's in this season? And there's
I think
three.
so. I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
No, it was announced that she said she wasn't.
Yeah, she said she
Oh.
wasn't in the season.
They
yeah.
said
But
that no,
people
but
say
then,
stuff all
but
the
then
time.
they put out toys, and then that had her, and it was like, oh,
Wait,
So,
another Koska Reeves figure or the same one you're talking about?
I could have sworn they put out like season 3 toys, and that was
Oh,
the spoiler.
that's interesting. Okay,
it.
if
I
that's
don't
true,
know.
if that's true, that's interesting then, because then
Cool.
yeah, they
I
totally would like, oh yeah, well she better be in it.
Yeah, I could be wrong. I have no idea, but I mean, the Dark Troopers just make sense to me though.
Mhm.
Like they literally worked for him, like they were his thing.
Surely there was some left over that Luke didn't
Yeah,
slice, right?
like
Well, that
I mean,
and like he would have a backup somewhere.
I would think. I mean, yeah, I could totally
would
buy
think
into
so.
that theory as well, or that possibility. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, it makes sense. They're made out of stolen Beskar. Like, it's definitely there. To me, it's one of those two. Those are the only two options, in my opinion. Like,
And this is what I love about the show. This is what I love. I have no idea.
yeah,
I can, and the fun part is I can make all these wild guesses, and I'll still be wrong at the end of the day. I can make 1,000 guesses, and they'll come up with something I never even dreamt of.
I
100%.
got a wild thought.
What is it, wild man?
What if they? No, that's another guy.
He doesn't own it, but
What if the other Mandalorians don't want to kidnap Moff Gideon to punish him, but want to kidnap Moff Gideon because they found something on his cruiser that they like, and they want more of it. They're like, "Hey, what's this cool little technology thing? Like, look, you got a map. What's the security code to get in here, or whatever? Right? Like,
I mean,
okay,
they-
yeah. So they need him for
literally-
information.
yeah,
Yeah.
He might have a stash of Beskar for all that they want,
Mhm.
or something. Like,
yeah, or like just Imperial weaponry and Imperial. like he could have access to a vault. He might have access to the Mount Tannis vaults, right?
Sure.
I mean,
mean-
they're linking all this shit together.
can I? I'm sorry. I know it's going to make you mad, but both of these shows have made it very clear that we're sewing the threads of like Snoke. Being
Yeah, all
free.
three of these shows,
Yeah.
and/or
Bad Batch,
Bad Batch and Mandalorian. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, especially to me, like I've been joking around with it, but especially today and the way Bad Batch ends today.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they looked like the Dark Troopers were in the background in Mount Tannis with the clones. I think
Those were Death Troopers.
Interesting.
See,
Interesting.
I think the Dark Troopers are old clones.
Did you mean
Well, the
Death
Dark-
Troopers? Dark
Death
Troopers are
Troopers.
droids.
Dark Troopers are robots.
Death Troopers are from
Death
Rogue
Troopers.
But see, in the video games, they were partially human.
I say the Death Troopers in Bad Batch, Brian, just because Krennic was in the room with them.
Hold up. You're saying in the last shot of Bad Batch there were Death Troopers,
So there's clones floating in tanks
right? And then
That's
yeah, that's the scene I'm talking about.
that are very similar to the tanks that were on Gideon's ship.
Right, because they're
that
the same.
Dark Troopers were in.
Right. So, yeah, in the Dark Forces series, the Dark Trooper project starts off using humans that are, cyborged out, and then eventually they move to being fully droid.
Exactly.
So yes, I think it's possible that what we're seeing in Bad Batch, because my opinion of the Death Trooper program has always been that it is leading to the Dark Trooper program, right? Which is why when we hear the Death Troopers, they have these modulated voices, because I love the idea of them being clones that have been cyborged out to get rid of the aging issues or the whatever issues or the compliance issues. So yeah, I think you're totally right about that.
I mean, what's his face? What's the bad guy's name?
Dark Trooper.
That's right.
From
Hemlock.
Hemlock, thank you. Hemlock literally says, like, they're our property. We get to test on them and do
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And he has a plan for them
Yeah.
beyond what Palpatine's plan is of making a clone of himself.
Yeah.
So
Nala Se literally goes, "That's not possible." Or
Right.
what's
Make
Nala
it
Se?
possible.
which I thought they were talking about force sensitivity.
That's what I assumed.
But I like your idea better.
Yeah.
But because I've had the same thought. I guess I didn't put two and two together about Bad Batch. I just assumed they were working on.
But to
on,
tie it all back, we think they were on the. They busted Gideon out. Is that is
yeah.
that where we're all getting back at to?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's get.
I just think that they are very Bad Batch in this are more closely than we are realizing right now.
Well, I think we are realizing right now, Brian.
Well, now we are, but
Now we
like
are.
it's starting to be like
We cracked their code.
Yeah,
We're onto them.
they finally gave us.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it was.
Yeah, and then to bring it back again, of course, Andor introduces young Snoke in a way that I think is so eloquently done, and giving him ties to the to Andor.
Are you
and-
Kevin Smith right now?
Oh, sorry, that's the other guy. My
Oh,
bad.
yeah.
All right. Well, with that said, that's the perfect time to end the
Jake
show,
ready to
everybody.
get outta here.
I know.
No, I had this. This has been fun. This is exactly what I expected, and I'm glad that you guys were able to make it. Talk Mando with us and everything that came with it as well. All the sidebars and rants and everything that's come on with this episode. I've had a blast. Cannot appreciate both of you enough for joining us, talking Mando with us. I know you guys are busy doing your things on Wednesdays. As she gets excited,
Hello,
because we're
doggy.
ending. Ray, relax.
You have an ending tone to your voice that
I have an ending tone. In
Ray
my voice
has
and they
picked
get
The
up.
end tone. Yes.
They get excited every single time. So, Frank, Sean, do your plugs. Let everyone know, even though they probably know. Let everyone know where they can find you, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up.
Yeah, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Scoundrels Inc. We do a show every Thursday that comes out every Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific, and on Mondays at the same time, 10 a.m. Pacific. And we're covering, basically the shows right now, but we're going to, after the shows are done, we'll get into a lot of other stuff that we have planned in the coming months.
We do?
But, we will by the time people hear
Okay,
this. We're going to have a meeting tomorrow, all right?
I know.
A company meeting tomorrow.
That's the
you know?
joke.
What is your Discord? Because I want to be in it.
It's in our
Link
well, I
tree.
can,
if you have our link tree link, it has
Linktree
all
is in the video description.
Yeah.
which also Brian, I could just add you to.
Okay.
Yeah, just do it. We'll do it right now. Do it right now. Watch live. We'll have to wait 4 more minutes. No. But yeah, if you want to go over to our YouTube channel and subscribe, that'd be great. We're not that far away from 400 subscribers. We're slowly building, and it's been a lot of fun, especially actually, with the Discord too as well. Going in there after episodes have aired, and there's a good chat going on about a good spoilery discussion without having to ruin it for everybody else on Twitter. Like, good Lord. People were so excited about Zeb, they could not wait to let you know.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate, but also despise. Anyway,
Motherfucking Carabas.
yeah, exactly. So thanks for having us on here. It's been a lot of fun talking with you guys, and I'm sure we'll do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
and you could find me all those places he mentioned, and also on twitch.tv/Sean Sully, where I occasionally stream video games. But starting whenever Jedi Survivor comes out, I will be doing that on there. And you could also find me on Mondays. I produce the Certain Point of View YouTube channel. By that I mean sometimes I come in and I interrupt.
Nice.
Yes. And we enjoy it every single time. So
I hope. You can tell me to stop.
No, never. Yeah, look, I think again, thank you guys so much for popping in and joining us. We know you guys quite busy with the filming you guys got going on, so thank you for taking the time to do it live. And everybody watching live, appreciate you all commenting along. Ray, just give me 2 more minutes. You can find Brian and I here every single week, every Wednesday, 6 o'clock Pacific, talking Mandalorian. Next week, we will have Mr. Thomas Harper with us. We'll be talking Mandalorian episode 6.
Oh, thank God we didn't have him on this episode.
Yeah, there were so many Y-Wings.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
How was I supposed to know?
I forgot about that until you said his name.
It's
Yeah.
it's
I love
crazy. I
Y-Wings.
can't look at another Y-Wing ever again the same.
I know.
It's insane.
So stay tuned for that, and then check out everything else going on the channel as well. Again, thank you for watching, and we will catch you guys next time. Bye, guys.